There it is, planet Druidia. And underneath the air shield, 10,000 years of fresh air. We must get through that air shield.
We will, sir. Once we kidnap the princess, we can force her father, King Roland, to give us the combination to the air shield, thereby destroying planet Druidia and saving planet Spaceball.
Everybody got that?
Spaceballs, the movie.
Princess Vespa spaceship within range, sir. Good.
What's going on?
It's either the 4th of July or someone's trying to kill us.
Now we will show her who is in charge of this galaxy.
If you do not give me the combination to the air shield, Dr. Slotkin will give your daughter back her old nose.
Only one man and his trusted companion can save planet Druidia from disaster.
Okay, Eagle 5, coming in.
Lone Star.
Someone just
First,
like him.
they must learn the secrets of yoga.
Yogurt! I am the keeper of a greater magic.
The Force?
No, the Schwartz.
Avoid capture on a distant planet.
Tell them to comb the desert, you hear me? Comb the desert!
Found anything yet? We ain't found.
The entire Spaceball army.
My hair! He shot my hair!
Holy.
And escape the clutches of Dark Helmet.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Abandon ship! Proceed to escape pods!
What the hell's the matter with this seatbelt?
Ah! When does this happen in the movie?
Give me bomb!
Spaceballs, the movie.
How do I know you're not making faces at me under that thing?
There it is, everybody.
You know what I want in the sequel is to just have Lewis Pullman in it and not Bill, just for people to be like, because he looks just like his dad.
He does look just like him. Yeah. I feel like. Well, actually, he played him. This is, I can't believe I'm the one taking us off track already. But I believe in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Bill Pullman plays, I can't remember the name of the character, but he's a comic character. And then like Lewis Pullman plays like the younger version of him.
Yeah, before he played Bob.
Yeah.
In Thunderbolts.
Yeah, that's right.
It was funny. I was telling my mom about him, and my mom's like, I don't think I know his name. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, he has a very recognizably handsome facial. And I showed her. She's like, oh yeah, he was in that one show I watched. I'm like, yeah.
When I met Bill Pullman at that at Woodstock Film Festival, the first thing I said was, because I'd never like interviewed like somebody that like, I don't know, like famous or anything before, and I was trying to build a rapport because I knew I was gonna have to do the speaking parts of it, and I was like, Spaceballs, just saw it recently again, and he's like, it holds up.
Lewis Pullman is gonna play the son of a Queen of Vespa and Lone Star. All right,
nice,
sure, yeah, why not? Yeah, man, Spaceballs is it's one. I think somebody said in the comments like one of the great spoofs. I agree. It's absolutely one of the great spoofs.
Movie's really good. You know that.
Well, think about what he had. I mean, the producers, which isn't necessarily spoofing something specific, right? Like it's its own.
Young Frankenstein. Sorry, Frankenstein.
Well, then Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, and then
Blazing Saddles.
Spaceballs. Yeah. Like out of all the movies that he made that are parodies, and then it kind of falls off from there. But
Dracula in Love is pretty good.
And it's sort of like Mel Brooks' send up of all things sci-fi too. I mean,
because the alien. I mean, the fact that John Hurt came.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. It's so good.
Oh, no, not again.
yeah, great.
I was like, wait a minute.
So there's like, I guess the story is that Mel Brooks went with his kids to see Star Wars. Like his kids dragged him to see multiple Star Wars, like multiple of the sequels and stuff. And he was like, we could do our own version of this. Because he was like, I did Westerns, I did Frankenstein just as a story. I did, he's like, I've done all this stuff. Like, why don't I just try this? And they went from there.
Well, and there's a certain degree of irreverence, and again, the definition of irreverence, right, is a certain lack of respect for people or things that are generally taken seriously. And what is that if not a spoof? And what is that if not Mel Brooks to a T? And I love that he includes all his Borscht Belt stuff. There's like transporter humor, the Vulcan nerve pinch. He's all over the place, but it works so well, right? Because it's like this embracing the absurdity of all of it.
I think also, isn't it like, if I'm trying to remember my like the way the parodies happened. I know Hardware Wars happened before Spaceballs.
That was early, yeah.
Because that was a video that ended up being like viral before things were viral. So Hardware Wars was Star Wars done with like basically kitchen appliances, which sounds but at the time,
which when you say it aloud sounds insane, but it actually that's the
on Dr. Demento and then Night Flight had it, and then like all these places. Then it just became this thing that people recorded it on VHS and then like shared it forever. So
really bad like quality.
When HBO first started, I think HBO aired it as like an interstitial between movies sometimes.
You're right.
So
yeah.
Definitely. I remember when I worked at Lucasfilm, we gave an honorary award to the people that did Hardware Wars. We gave them like a Star Wars legendary fan award during what we call the fan film awards, which is something that we used to do with fans.
Were those the porn spoofs by any chance?
Well, porn spoofs we didn't give any awards to because we still had to be like somewhat family friendly when we did fan film awards. But there is a whole genre of parody porn. That's I think Star Whores was the first one.
Yeah. Well, that's right there, I guess. Sure.
I wrote an article a long time ago for Playboy about the history of Star Wars porn, which I think lasted as long as like a month before Playboy went under. But it was an interesting historical deep dive, so to speak, into Star Wars porn. And that's but also there's Star Wars wannabes like Star Crash, I think, could be kind of considered Star Wars.
Rebel Moon.
Yeah. But yeah, so I remember Hardware Wars, we gave an honorary award to the people who made it, and it was because it was at a time when people were making parodies like okay, for you kids who don't know now, Dr. Demento was like this humor show that was kind of like they would do weird parody music videos, but also skits and songs, and Mr. Bill was on there. And then Night Flight sort of took over and would air a lot of that stuff. And Night Flight was something that was on Friday and Saturday night, late at night on TV, where they would show independent films, horror films, weird films that like are from up and coming directors that just graduated from NYU, and just like weird stuff. And so Fish Heads, Really Pulley Fish Heads. That was one of the music
Barnes
videos.
and Barnes, yeah.
But like I remember seeing Hardware Wars, going, "Oh, this is really innovative." And then when Mel Brooks decided that he was going to do his own thing called Spaceballs, I just remember thinking this is the most clever thing ever. But also I was young enough to get it confused sometimes with Star Wars. So there would be moments where I thought things that happened in Spaceballs actually happened in Star Wars, and things that happened just because it was so well done. It was such like, when you're a young kid, finding out about comedy for the first time. Like,
Yep.
I think my comedy lexicon at that age was Hee Haw and maybe Benny Hill and maybe Monty Python. And then Saturday Night Live, if I was allowed to stay up late, which is
Yeah.
weird that I knew about Benny Hill before Saturday Night Live.
Sure, but it was syndicated. No, I'm glad you mentioned all that stuff, and I'll try to make this really quick. But I had forgotten that a large part of my early comedic identity and just a creative identity was the Dr. Demento show and all the things that were played on there, including some of the stuff that you mentioned, but also Spaceballs, as well as Monty Python. And the fact that I just wanted more Star Wars so bad that like I was like, oh, what? And like the fact that it was a comedy didn't occur to me. It all kind of existed in the same sort of milieu, if you will. That me and Dave Hasbrook, you know Dave, Bonnie,
Yeah.
we as kids made our own home movies, our own parody films called Star Trek. That was as much of a Star Trek spoof as Spaceballs is a Star Wars spoof, is the way to put it, which is literally just anything that we wanted to put in it, we would, and we like went way off the map into our own thing, et cetera, et cetera. But watching Spaceballs this week, I was like, oh, because like we were just, if not exactly, not we weren't doing Borscht Belt comedy necessarily, right? It's not one for one, but it's like, no, we were looking at, you can celebrate something that you love, but also parody some of the more ridiculous aspects of it and have fun with it at the same time. And I had basically forgotten about that because I'll be honest, I haven't seen Spaceballs in 20 years.
Yeah.
Maybe 30, honestly. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know why.
It also like would showcase things we were all thinking, right? Like the hair buns being hair buns, like actual buns. And
there's like headphones where she's listening to music at one point. Yeah, that's great. That's a great thing.
And like the appliance jokes with the robots. And also, this was an era where John Candy was every kid's favorite comedian because you have Uncle Buck, you have trains, planes, and automobiles. You have basically John Candy he was weird because he's like a big kid at heart. So it's like you really loved him. It's kind of like Dom DeLuise was for the generation before that. John Candy was for our generation, and then after that, obviously, you have Chris Farley. So you have these comedians that kind of fit that mold. But he was so good in this, and also all the actors were so good in this film that you kind of forget sometimes it's a parody, like you were saying. Like sometimes you're like, "Oh, this is really great," but also as a kid, you're just like, "Oh, I get it because it's kid humor." And obviously, there's adult jokes in there, 100%. But there's just moments too where you have Vader playing with his action figures. Like it's just like there's so many great moments. Like I just can't think of them all and like dissect them seriously because it's hard to without giggling. It's one of those movies that I always say it was of its time because Mel Brooks is also one of those comedians that when you rewatch movies today that were really popular then, like Blazing Saddles definitely reads different now than it did in the 80s. Yeah. Also in the 80s, I feel like people were kind of allowed to make fun of things on different levels. Whereas now, a lot of people are afraid to because they don't want to get misinterpreted or canceled or called out on something. In the 80s, no one was really caring about that. I'm not saying that that's a good reason to do humor that's questionable, but I would say Spaceballs is probably one of the few that kind of gets off the hook. Like, it's not as controversial.
Well, we live in like post-satire times. That's harder to do satire.
It is.
Yeah. Christina, go ahead. What were you're gonna say something?
Well, also too, like a lot of people are like, oh, you could do the producers today. I'm like.
Well, first of all, they did, and it was not that long ago. But anyway.
Yeah. I'm like, you guys act like shit happened like a 500 years ago. 1969 is not that long ago. Or, it was 1969 or 68.
Springtime for Hitler and Germany.
You know what you probably could do though is actually do a musical called Springtime for Hitler because it's basically
you probably yes you could.
If you actually read the description of what that musical entails, like it's hilarious.
I feel like that's something that Matt and Trey from South Park should do. I went to college with Matt and Trey, and I just remember thinking when I went to school with them, they were kind of like, do you remember the movie Back to School, where it's like the two guys that are like doing the horror film? They're in summer school, or not Back to School. I'm sorry, Summer School. It's the
Summer School's a different movie. I do remember that one too, though.
Summer School. Back to School is great, but Summer School.
As far as I know, Rodney Dangerfield is not in Summer School.
Yeah, no. Summer School.
Kurt Vonnegut does not make a cameo.
No. Summer School is with John Harmon, the NCIS guy, Ted Bundy, the actor that played him. Yeah, not actually Ted Bundy, but it was a movie where you had these two guys that loved horror films that kind of like were goofing around all the time. Trey and Matt, I feel like they've done everything you could imagine and not things you would ever imagine, like starting off their career with a Cannibal the musical. That's why I was like, when you said, oh, it would be great to do the Springtime for Hitler musical, who would do that? I immediately thought Matt and Trey should do that. Like, if they haven't thought of it yet, they should, because they would do such a good job on it.
And now Sorry. I love the producers. I love the movie and I also love the show. I'm surprised that it's won the most Tony Awards, but it's never been revived yet.
Okay,
I'd love to do like the original producers as an episode.
Yeah. So someone brought up in the comments that there's
not the Matthew Broderick version.
That there's supposed to be.
It's the Matthew Broderick version is fine, but it's like I'm just so like I'm so attached to the 1960s one as like a kid who saw that way before.
So I love him and Nathan Lane.
So in the comments, someone brought up that there's going to be a sequel to Spaceballs that's not coming out to 2027. Spoiler alert. We've been talking about this sequel since I was still at Lucasfilm. So I don't know if it's going to happen or not. And I don't want to like bring on anyone's parade, but like we talked about it in 2012. I remember writing an article for StarWars.com about it. I remember writing an article for CNET. In the 8 years I was writing for CBS News and CNET 3 times, I wrote 3 different years it was supposed to happen. I would like it to come out. I hope it does because Mel's not getting any younger.
He's like, 97 or so, like something crazy like that?
You know what's so funny, too, is that when COVID happened, him and his son, Matt...
99! He's 99 years old, and he just announced a new movie. All right.
Let me... When... you might look this up for us, but there was a... Max did and Mel and a bunch of other... They did like a anti, a pro-social distancing type of situation. He's like... Imagine if I get COVID and pass it on to my dad, and then pass it on to
I remember that.
Like all the comedy legends that are dead now except for Mel. He's like, I would be responsible for the death of all these legends because
it was around the time that Carl Rayner died too.
Yes.
So yep. But this is Mel Brooks made a video where he's talking about they just started filming Spaceballs too.
Yeah, we'll see. Because guess what? He made that same video like 8 years ago. Like,
all right.
Yeah, I remember this. He did this Star Wars celebration. I'm not tricking you
now. Oh my god.
Four Beatles movies?
And Oppenheimer.
Still got it. We're not going to live another 5 years.
After 40 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
asked,
so what do the fans want?
That don't look like 8 years ago, though.
I mean, they make the joke in the movie. Quest for more money.
The article I wrote was in 2012. And he said, we're doing this for sure. There was a trailer that was made that looked a lot like the one you just saw. Star Wars Celebration, which was the big Star Wars convention. Everyone got all hyped up about it, that it was going to happen, and then nothing. And then later, like about 5 years later, he announced it again that it was going to be an animated series. And I don't know what happened with that. And then that never came to fruition, or it did, and we got like a trailer or we got something. but nothing for a while. And then he announced it again a little bit later. Nothing happened again. And then he announced it again in I think during, like right before the pandemic. And then he announced it again this year. So it's like, I get that you like announcing it, but we need to actually make it. So
yeah.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I want this to happen more than anyone. Trust me. But I feel like he's like tempting us and then taking away the character.
They did Spaceballs, the animated show. It just flopped. It wasn't funny.
Yeah, it was like, was it like one season? Like how many episodes was it?
Yeah, because everyone said, "Oh, this sucks."
Yeah. So
it's the only thing to that level that I've ever seen that has 0 reviews online. Nobody even bothered to review it.
I think talking about the movie itself, the sequel. He has been saying this for a while because Rick Moranis came out.
He said it in the movie.
Yeah, Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to say it. The guy who punched him deserves the death penalty. I don't care. You don't hurt my man, okay? That he's a legend. Okay? I'm just saying.
Rick Moranis was like in hiding, and I found him and I interviewed him about it. He said it was happening. Like I remember these as core memories. Core memories. These weren't to me. So every time someone mentions, "Oh, it's going to happen," I'm like, I'm
excited. I'm trying to will it into the world. I'm trying to manifest.
Okay. Don't be ready.
No, but
So would be so an interesting thing is that, like, let's say that he does do it, right? The oldest record for a director to be of an older age and put out a movie right now is Clint Eastwood with Juror Number 2, which came out last year. So, and Clint Eastwood, which is good. I think it's actually a good movie. He's 95. So, but Mel Brooks is 99. So if let's say he does make this movie, right? And it comes out, 2027? He would be either 100 or 101 years old and would break an actual record for movie making, which makes me think he's going to do it. Because then people have to mention Spaceballs Part 2, The Quest for More Cash, in serious conversations until the end of time, which honestly would be very funny.
Yeah.
What's the last Mel Brooks movie that's been like the most recent that's been made?
Dracula Dead and Loving It?
No, he made something. Dracula Dead and Loving It is, I thought it was 1995.
Relevant one? Oh, let me look. Okay. Fact checkers,
Oh,
let's go.
someone look it up because I was curious because I don't think he's done a movie in a very long time. Correct?
Producers was 2005. The remake, The Producers was 2005.
Yeah, but he didn't direct that though.
No, he didn't direct it. I'm talking about he's in charge.
Yeah.
He's in charge of it.
Yeah, probably Dracula Done Loving It, according to this. Yeah, Robin Hood Men in Tights is before that. So
I hope that when it does,
undefeated.
I hope that whoever he picks for his writer's room, unless he writes the whole thing, it's going to be very interesting because, like I said earlier, Mel Brooks' humor, I think for us, it's gold. For us, it's comedy gold. But for generations younger than us, I don't know.
Do you think the Zoomers wouldn't vibe with it?
I don't know. Are we calling them Zoomers? Is that what you called them?
Yeah.
I did. I didn't coin that.
Here's the thing, though. There's a pre-COVID Gen Z and a post-COVID Gen Z. The post-COVID Gen Z is the one that's like sexless, more religious. They stayed at home with their parents during COVID, and that's what happened. They're QAnon parents. So they're the ones
generational shots fired.
I'm just saying.
I try to keep it being a generational war-free show. I'm not.
The problem is they might find Mel Brooks' stuff offensive, but for a lot of us who grew up, learning about satire, and I always liked Mel Brooks. I mean, I hate when people are like, you can't make Blazes House today. Who cares? Make it. Let's see what happens. I don't care. Like,
I'm not saying don't make it. I don't think I ever said that. And those words never left my mouth. I'm not saying.
No, I'm just saying, like the internet, be like, you can't make Blazes House today.
No. I'm not a Reddit player. I would never do that. What I'm saying though is, it'll be interesting to see what they
I know. But I'm just saying
But then again, if it's a 101-year-old man making it, what's he got to lose? I mean, at that point.
I mean, he did his History of the World Part 2 miniseries. He was the writer and director of that.
Oh yeah, that was like 2 years ago or something. Right?
Yeah.
with like Wanda Sykes and Ike Barinholtz and all them. Yeah, I remember that.
There's the really incredible season.
How did that go over though? Was the reviews of it good?
What I remember, people liked it.
Yeah,
it was the most watched scripted original series of whatever year that came out. I remember that.
Great. Okay, cool. All right. At this point, I think like having a Mel Brooks version of Star Wars, like I'd be interested to see, is it going to be a direct sequel to Spaceballs, or is he going to do something like a prequel or something like the new movies? Like I'd be very curious.
Well, I think he's going to probably light them all up, and the fact that he cast Bill Pullman's son as Princess Vespa and Lone Star's kid, like kind of leads you to believe, okay, so he's probably going to like do some kind of like Kylo Ren kind of.
How do you not cast, Lewis? How do you not cast Lewis Pullman as Bill? I mean, it's kind of like, it's like trying to cast. It's like not casting Wyatt Russell. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you should definitely cast whoever's still alive from Spaceballs.
That's a good point. Yeah, because
John Candy, John Hurts, making a cameo.
Yeah. Well, you can always have someone do a Joan Rivers impersonation, right? I mean,
yeah.
I think whatever our version of Joan Rivers is now. Like,
there's so much Joan Rivers. There's so much Joan Rivers. Oh, our version of Joan Rivers is Nikki Glaser.
Yeah,
but there's so much. There's also so much Joan Rivers that you could just like, I don't know. For like
that's the other thing. Like, you have to remember, they're going to be smart. He's probably going to be smart about it, and he's not
going to use AI or something. Come on, there's no way.
I didn't say AI. I said you. No, I said you could have.
How dare you?
You could have taken. I said you could have taken stuff from her old roast and just a dot matrix.
Yeah, sure. No one knows who she is other than us. So I'm not going to say people are going to put her in there. They're probably going to put Nikki Glaser in there. They're going to do whatever version of the people are. But you know what I mean? Like whoever the celebrities are at the time, that's what they're going to use. They're not going to like put in old celebrities that like 5 of us know. Like I love Joan Rivers, but that's not going to sell tickets. I'm sorry. That's gonna.
They're going to put in AI Don Rickles.
Who is the Don Rickles of now?
Well, Nick Kroll was a big part of that History of the World part 2, right? So it was. I mean, he'd probably be involved.
He'd probably be involved. He doesn't really do his. I mean, when he tries to do stand up, I don't think he.
No, he's more of a sketch artist. He's more of a character.
But what is Spaceballs if not a series of extended sketches and vignettes?
Yeah,
though? And that's one of the reasons why it works.
Yeah,
which I think how much of it is visual gags? There's so many, like the combs, right? I mean, it's they're combing the
breathing.
I think a big reason why like these like longer movies like Spaceballs, right, don't happen as much is because there's so much so many things are willing to give people like sketch comedy shows or limited series or something like that, right? Like for comedy.
Gun movie, like mid-budget comedies, like
it's coming back.
That are under 2 hours long.
The new Naked Gun is actually a good example for kind of continuing that tradition while putting a newer spin on it. Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, and I think because it did so well, that's a good harbinger of like this could succeed. Like I know I mentioned this before, but this is the thing I saw, the Ewok
Murder Party. Yeah.
All these comedians and real actors, real comedians, real character actors.
If your name is Josh from the Afternoon Tune and you missed the main show, this is the Ewok Murder Party.
So this was in LA. This was a couple of days ago in LA at Dynasty Typewriter, so it was like a live performance. It was sold out apparently a month ahead of time. All their Star Wars reenactment shows that they do are sold out. So I know there's an audience for doing this with other actors. So like these types of comedians and actors, like I would love to see Jack Quaid in Spaceballs, the sequel. I would love to see like John Cryer play the C-3PO character. Like I would love to see other people in there.
Think about what's in the
Jack Black would be great in that.
Think about what's in the crawl for announcing this too, right? Like it's like since then there's been like the Star Wars prequels, there's been the Disney Star Wars sequels, there's been all the shows, there's been the rise and fall, in my opinion, of prestige TV. Like there's all of this stuff to pull from because remember, Spaceballs isn't just Star Wars. Like it's 85% Star Wars, but it's
and ironically they have a great chest bursting alien scene, and we have a new alien TV show out right now.
Amazing, which is great. I'm a big Christina and I especially are big Noah Hawley fans, and so we're all about this.
Yeah, I am too. I love the new season, but also I love that Alien just keeps going. And that
It
was
really
a-
does.
that was
And
a
it seems to be bomb-proof. Like, doesn't matter how bad the movies do, they just keep making them.
People want more.
That movie was 1979, and it still holds up, and it's
Yeah.
still a great story. And even the crappy Alien movies are still great movies. So it's like,
I mean,
I don't think they're-
Alien 3 and on I mean, we acknowledge Aliens as one of the best sequels
Yeah.
Yes.
to a movie ever.
Absolutely.
I mean,
That's-
reminder, guys, we never done Aliens. We done Aliens.
The show did Aliens.
We did Aliens.
You were on. Were you on
Yeah.
for Alien or Aliens, Bonnie? I know we did.
I think we did Aliens because I think I talked about. Well, wait. I
And
talked
The
about-
Thing. We did The Thing too. I know. I remember that. That
I
was
know we
so
did-
long ago.
Yeah, I think I
We
did
can redo
Aliens
those.
because I talked about the cat a lot because I always wanted an alien movie from the version of the cat.
I
The cat,
remember.
yeah.
I remember being a child watching that when my pop-up being in the living room watching, and I'm like, oh my god, please don't let the cat get like a chest burster.
Yeah,
Like
the
I was
cat
like,
survived. The
I
cat.
was like, please let the cat live. And he's like, don't worry, it does. I'm like, yay.
I mean, I know in the sequel they kind of make it sound like the cat doesn't survive, but in my brain, the cat's always survived. But also, you were bringing up a good point earlier, Conan. There's been so many great sci-fi movies since Spaceballs
yeah.
as a parody, and it's just like they would just do such a fun. I would love to see them do all these different kinds of films that have come out that have kind of become the lexicon of sci-fi.
You know they're gonna spoof a little bit of Barbie and Oppenheimer in there somewheres. Like,
Oh yeah, of course, because it's a lot of whatever's in the lexicon, whatever people are talking about now. Like if it came out like a few years ago, they probably would have had a Barbie reference. So it's like,
Unfortunately, the summer box office numbers were not good. Like it can't not this year and last year haven't been able to top Barbenheimer. I'm like because because they're trying to force it.
Because they're trying to force it. The whole reason that happened is because it was almost
or
by
they
accident.
ignore a potential good, or they ignore something with potential like Sinners and Conclave.
Well,
Hello?
right, yeah. Well, but also, okay. So
Oppenheimer though was like the goth meme. So I feel like goths, my species is to blame for Oppenheimer doing so well because it was we would dress in pink for Barbie and then dress as goth for Oppenheimer.
Everyone did it though. Oh, my girly girls dressed in black.
So you're kind of seeing my point because I was going to say is the reason why it worked is because one of the sides of that portmanteau was taking it incredibly overtly seriously, one might say, and that's one of the reasons why it works. And the problem now is everyone's trying to do it. And the reason why it worked is Nolan was like, "No, I'm doing serious art," and then like Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie are just like, "We out here, just like having a blast with it." And those two things together is what made that special. But people don't think about that. They're thinking about, what are two things that don't go together? No, it isn't just that they like are different things that go together. It was that particular cultural moment and the approach for both of those movies. Also, fact check department, Alien. Renee Ruin was on for Alien for this show forever ago, and Aliens, Christina, you were on for that one, but that was before you were a co-host. So Bonnie, I was thinking of The Thing.
Wait,
that you were on.
I thought I did one of the Alien movies. Was it Alien 3?
I don't think we've done Alien 3. But
do we have?
We only did Alien and Alien.
You know what? I'm going to go to imdb.com and find out right now because I can do that.
Well, Alien 3 is the one with Winona Ryder as the
No, that's Resurrection.
No,
Resurrection. That's the one that's done by done by the City of Lost Children director.
You were on for Alien.
Alien Singular.
Yeah.
Oh, I was on with Renee.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Christina wasn't on that one.
Okay.
But Christina was on for Aliens,
Well, if
which
you
was
do the Alien movie that had Winona Ryder in it, I want to be on that.
Alien Resurrection. I don't like that one.
That was a big deal because I thought that was before the prison colony one, wasn't it? Or is that the same?
No,
movie?
it's after. The Resurrection is the fourth one. Alien 3 is the David Fincher one. It's like really bleak and depressing. Some people have, and Resurrection is the one that's got Winona Ryder and there's a clone Ripley. I don't know. It's done by the guy who directed it.
Basketball, is that the clone Ripley with the basketball and she does it in the one take with that, and she makes a basket.
Yes, that's Resurrection. Yeah. That's the one. So the guy that did City of Lost Children and Delicatessen did that one, but that's the first one he did without his partner. And I think which we talked about it. in our City of Lost Children episode, crazily enough. But
there was a lot of French actors in that one. I remember.
It's so French, yeah. Peak French.
Alien.
So
I would 100% redo Alien and Aliens because I don't remember a single thing we said in either one of those shows. Maybe they're great. I don't know.
I remember being kind of drunk and making some case about the Marxist case for Alien.
Okay, now I remember it. Yes, now I remember it. Yeah, okay.
Because it was back when I still needed it was back when I was still sick a little bit to
little liquid courage, huh?
Yeah,
that was your poli-sci years. So what other movie then Spaceballs came out?
There is an episode of City of Lost Children. It's pretty good.
Now they're gonna do something about sinners. I know that. What about the dog from? Oh God, what was it? Was it Anatomy of a Fall? Is that the
we've done the thing, and we're literally going to see the thing
this weekend. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing episode is really good. The thing episode's in our top 10 most listened to shows.
I love
crazily.
the theme. The theme. That's in my Halloween playlist. Sounds like the horse galloping. You know?
So there's a lot of material for Mel Brooks to work with. Mel Brooks and let's be real, his people. And
in space.
Yeah, exactly.
Political? Do you think he would get political and put Trump in there somewhere?
Of course.
I mean,
President
wasn't political in the original Spaceballs, was he?
But the funny thing is, President Scroob is literally could be a fucking Trump doppelganger. He has a fake hair.
Yeah, it's years before. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Everyone was mocking Trump back then too. Everyone knew he was a piece of shit.
Yeah, Donald Trump's been around since he's been in the pop culture thing since the 70s. He was at Studio 54, so he's been around since the 70s.
You're doing cocaine.
Consistently, I always disliked that guy.
He's in Home Alone 2 or
That's
3.
Right.
What's the
Star
Home
Turn.
Alone Hotel?
The one with Tim Curry, the good one, Home Alone 2.
Okay, so Spaceballs is I think works as a spoof for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that it isn't done with any particular reverence to actually works towards the tone, even though at the time that's what I was like, oh, that's annoying. Why is there's no king in Star Wars? Without realizing as a kid that okay, yeah, of course there's not a king in Star Wars. Stupid. He's doing a bit on arranged marriages and so on and so on. And it works well because it plays to his strengths as well as just mocking what was the idea of the blockbuster, right? The blockbuster franchise that did not exist, and now. That is all we have. And it's not all we have. We have plenty of movies that are not. We cover Art House Fair. We advocating for stuff that we love that isn't that. But most of movie-dom is these fucking There's another Avatar coming. Don't worry. In December. Yeah, we're going back to the Na'vi,
you know. James Cameron to do a sequel to Titanic because that's the movie I want to see.
The Reckoning. This time it's This time
so funny. My mom was like, "Did James Cameron build that tight stuff that floated?" And I'm like, "Mom, he would have died." He caught that shit the moment it just.
I love the idea of Titanic too.
I'm just thinking of those when they do the fake trailers or The Player where they're talking about the Sola.
I'm pretty sure there's already been a movie called Titanic too. That was really
I know.
Yeah.
When they have well, and it's so funny because
Titanic 2, The Search for More Money.
Because there's again referencing the Player, they have there's a scene where Buck Henry is pitching, doing The Graduate too, and that's back in 91 or whatever. So it's one of those things how much worse is it now?
You have to remember about Hollywood is they don't like taking risks with blockbusters with a big budget. They want a fan base that's already existing that's going to go to the theater or going to buy it or whatever. So that's why we're getting another Tron. That's why we're getting another Avatar. That's why we're getting a lot of these movies. Just the franchise keeps going because there's a large fan base that will have money that will go to the theater or buy whatever digital release there is. So that's the thing you have to remember. It's as much as I love A24 films and really cool indies and things that are brand new like Sinners, the money is going to things that don't make network executives and studios nervous.
That's why I am writing to Ryan Coogler, and I'm going to proposition him with two ideas: a prequel about Remick and a sequel about Staff.
Sorry, I stopped listening after you're going to proposition him, and then you said something else. But
no, so wait, so what you're saying though, Christina, about Titanic?
It is a good night for me laughing, by the way.
There was literally these movies that came out. It was by like Steve Oderkirk, like the guy that worked with Jim Carrey that worked on.
Oh yeah, he's doing Nobody, Mr. Nobody.
He did no, not Bob Odenkirk, Steve Oderkirk. He's like a writer that was
his brother Steve. You never heard of him?
No, he was one of the big writers on In Living Color.
No, I know who he is. I know.
So he had this thing where he would like somehow would animate eyes and a mouth onto thumbs. So he would do these. So he did these.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
The first one was Thumb Wars, and the
Thumb
second
Wars.
one was Thumbtanic. So he did Titanic, but it was just all like.
By the way, Thumb Wars. That Thumb Wars video also got an honorary like Fan Film Awards Oscar from George as well, because that was such a like beloved parody that I like know by heart. That's why I love the Spaceballs, is because it's one of those. It kind of like encouraged fans to think of Star Wars in a different way. So when YouTube became a thing, more and more people were like putting up their videos of parodies of Star Wars. I think a lot of that was inspiration from Spaceballs, for sure.
Also, not to say anything. Pep Talks, thanks for for rating in.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about some Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Don't leave immediately.
That thumb guy, Steve Oderkirk.
As he will henceforth be known forevermore.
He wrote The Nutty Professor and The Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps. He wrote Patch Adams for whatever fucking reason. and he went on to write not just Bruce Almighty, but Jimmy Neutron. He was the guy that Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah. It always goes back to Conan, doesn't it?
I existed before that cartoon, and I will exist after.
You know what's funny though? There was a movie called Rise of the Titanic starring Dave Selby, who's known for Dark
Rise of the Titanic. Not yet.
Oh my god! It came out like
Rise of the Titanic.
So bad. They put like these.
Wait. Hold on. Ready? Are you ready? Somehow Titanic returned.
Exactly. Like, okay, this is before they discovered the ship had actually split in half. This is before Rob Ballard's, discovering the wreckage. So what happened is they put these giant balloons. I think the whole plot was like there was like some treasures in the Titanic, ancient artifacts they had to like get.
Well, the Hope Diamond wasn't the Hope Diamond was supposed to.
It wasn't even the Hope Diamond. It was like Egypt. I forgot what the whole point.
It wasn't the Hope Diamond. It was the Cope Diamond. Yeah,
there we go. It wasn't even about like the heart of the ocean, because this again before James Cameron, but like it was about like all these like sacred like treasures that were hidden in the Titanic. So they put these giant like inflatable balloons in the Titanic, and it rises to the surface of the water.
And somehow Titanic returned. Yes, like I said.
And I remember watching this movie when I'm like, but it was in one piece too, and I'm like, but
that's not awful.
Okay, I got one.
Bonnie, you got that reference, right? Oscar Isaac should have won the Oscar in that movie for
exactly.
This is somehow.
If you're a big Doctor Who fan, they did a whole Christmas episode called The Titanic 2, and it was a spaceship that was like a resort. It was like a White Lotus spaceship.
Oh,
Titanic 2, and Kylie Minogue is on there as like a waitress. And it's one of the David Tennant Doctor Who episodes.
It's one of the Christmas specials, right? If I remember it.
Well, it's hilarious because David Tennant's his Doctor Who, that Time Lord, was the only one on there that knew the actual history of the Titanic. And everybody it was just a party boat from a long time ago. They're like, wait a minute.
Okay.
Wait, I got a movie pitch.
Oh boy.
All right, lay it on us.
Talking about Return of the Titanic made me think of this. So, all right. So this is my zombie movie, right?
And Jack lives.
This is my zombie movie, and somehow they decide, somehow the Titanic returns. Somehow they decide we've got to get the Titanic back. We've got to bring it up from the bottom of the ocean. So they find a way. I don't know. I'll say a giant crane, and they pick up the Titanic, but it's infested with zombies. And they don't know that the zombie virus has been lying dormant. Zombie virus has been lying dormant. On the Titanic.
So that's why it really sank, right? It really sank because okay.
And then everyone starts getting infected. They don't know, because obviously there's so many different cabins and stuff. So they bring it to like a museum or whatever to show it, and then the zombies start coming out of it, and that's how the zombies start infecting people. It's all the people that were killed in the Titanic.
I think we've covered worse on this very show. So yeah.
Well, there's a movie that's going to be about the people who just died trying to look at the Titanic. So I know that movie is in production.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's a documentary.
You had to be on TikTok when that shit went down because we were laughing our fucking asses off, not knowing those people were dead. But like,
that documentary on Netflix is one of the saddest documentaries, but it's also a lot of well, duh. Like it's like duh.
Like, Bonnie, I don't know if you remember this, but the moment
it says Tubi special written all over it.
Yo, Tubi, give me a call, buddy.
Like, Christina, what?
The moment the Titan they announced like, oh, this submersible just disappeared. James Cameron was over here like it imploded because of carbon fiber fatigue. It imploded, and people were like, "What?" And then it revealed, and everyone was like, "How did James Cameron know all this?" And I'm like, "Motherfuckers, why do you think he became a director? To fund his sea exploration? He's been down the Mariana Trench. He knows his shit.
The Abyss is a documentary.
He explored the Titanic on 9/11. Fucking what's his
Yeah.
name? Had to tell him, dude, we're under attack.
They had to tell him about 9/11, and he had to react.
He's like Jimmy, I got some news to tell you.
Yeah,
he's part of the documentary too.
It's like the non-funny Life Aquatic. Like that's basically.
Like, if I heard you, if someone was like, Christina, do you want to go see the Titanic wreckage with James Cameron? Yes, you know why? Because I know I'm not going to die down there. Okay.
Yeah. It's his whole thing. It's like I'm the guy that goes in. He's fucking Captain Nemo, is what he is. He just makes movies also to fund it.
I think it's like the millionaires who want to do the same type of thing but in outer space. I'm like, I'm gonna wait
do it
until there's a rocket that won't explode with me in it. I think I'm gonna wait. Like that whole like going off world. Like I'm a big Blade Runner fan, and still I would be the guy that's gonna stay in LA. I'm not going off world because that's where Alien happens. So like I'm not doing any, and there is a direct connection because it is the same universe. I hate to blow everybody's mind, but it is the same universe.
I mean, I feel like Alien Earth is kind of leaning into that. I mean, big
it's
time.
already done it because I can see replicant eyeballs, and I'm seeing Blade Runner references throughout the TV series.
Ridley Scott is the one who's like been on board for that from the beginning. He's literally said it's the same universe, and it's like I was like, "Shut up, Ridley, get out of here."
I would love to see Spaceballs. Like, what is the same universe of Spaceballs? Like, is there?
Alien.
Robin Women in Tights.
Alien is still in the same universe as Spaceballs.
That's right, because it's like not again.
Yeah.
Hello, lady. Hello. You know what's so funny though about like Titanic? A lot of people are like, "Why are people so obsessed with that ship?" I'm like, it was built and labeled be unsinkable. They were warned of icebergs. Ignore those warnings, and it sunk on her maiden voyage. What else? How?
I'm glad somebody gets my humor, Looney Tunes. Thank you. Shut up, Ridley.
I just feel like
Looney Tunes on Tubi because fucking David Zasow's a piece of shit who doesn't care about his cartoon mascots.
I just love that whenever something like the Titanic or the Titan submersible happens, everyone's like, "Oh well, we tried to warn him that this was going to happen," and it's like, well, it clearly is still fucking happening.
They left that thing in Newfoundland in the winter, for God's sake.
Okay, all right. Can we get off this fucking Titanic business for like a hot second, please? I mean, Jesus Christ, like 20 minutes material on this. I would say, like, we wouldn't look towards like Mel Brooks movies necessarily for stuff in the same world as Spaceballs, but like something like Red Dwarf. Maybe, like, okay, like it's not quite as comedic, but like, something along those lines, like, maybe like other.
Yeah, let's talk about that because
space farce.
What kind of space stuff had humor to it? Like, I feel like that was such an 80s thing because I'm not even talking about the Star Trek stuff that's been out recently. I'm talking about stuff like, obviously, like you mentioned, Red Dwarf. That was around the 80s, around the same time. We also had Space Precinct, which I don't know if you guys ever watched, but that was like Law and Order in space, but it was a comedy. No. If you can like find it streaming, I highly recommend. It's called Space Precinct, and it's crazy, and it's a comedy, but it's a cop show in space. But I don't know of a lot of space comedies that are movies.
What if we get Tim Curry to come back and say the infamous line, "I'm going to the one place without capitalism."
Well, I feel like you gotta have it in the same universe as like that show, like the Orville, like the everybody really liked it.
I was gonna mention the Orville, yeah.
Well, that's a good modern example. Yeah.
Which is basically just like, and you gotta respect it. It's Seth MacFarlane basically, I want to do a Star Trek, and then it's like, yeah, but I'll have dick jokes, and then it gradually just got more serious, and then after a while, I was like, this is just like a good like Star Trek style show at this point.
This is
like,
why I like this sketch show.
He was okay, yeah.
He was such a big
so funny.
He was such a big Star Trek fan that they literally put Seth MacFarlane like in one of the episodes of Star Trek. Like,
yeah,
right.
He's a huge Star Trek fan, man.
But the tone of Spaceballs, it's that irreverent, you know, it's we call it Mel Brooks style because it's like that's like we think of people ripping him off basically, but it's a hard tone. Because there's definitely stuff like Avenue 5 and things like along those lines that are comedic, but it's more of like a dry comedy and sort of like situational. I mean, even Red Dwarf, the tone's not the same. You know, it's funny, but it's not like, you know, it's more... there's more existential dread than people remember in Red Dwarf.
Because, I mean, there's comedies that take place...
They put all the live-action Disney remakes. That's something to consider.
I mean, there's comedies that take place in space, like, you know, like Buck Rogers is kind of a comedy, and that was the 80s, and also you have, like, I don't know, there's comedies that take place in space, and then there's parodies, and I feel like this is Spaceballs kind of is a little bit of both, because it is its own story, but obviously it is a parody of Star Wars, but then it takes parody elements from all these other different sci-fi type shows and type movies. So it would be interesting if they used the same formula nowadays, what they would do and what they would take from it and how it would work.
Well, and something I was thinking about, and Christine, you invoked it with the Naked Gun, is that we just don't see many kind of spoofs and farces.
Yeah.
Really so much anymore. Like, it's to the point that like a bunch of people were sort of like hand-wringing about the Naked Gun. Like, well, would people even understand what this is spoofing at this point? Because those shows are not culturally ubiquitous in the same way. And the answer really is that it doesn't matter. If the comedy is good enough, it doesn't matter.
It's a sequel.
And I do love that Naked Gun did have a lot of references to the original Naked Gun. And like even the references in the trailer when they have all the sons of the cops crying under the picture and then you see OJ and the guy like looks at the camera. There's a whole generation of people who don't know anything about
that.
Like,
huh? Like, but then the people that know are like, "Wah!" Like me in the theater.
The only people know about like OJ murdered his wife. They don't know he was an actor. Like they knew he was a football player and that's it. But they didn't know
they didn't know he was actually in Naked Gun. That he was in Naked Gun. Yeah. So
he gets killed. Which is funny.
Yeah. So it is an interesting. I think Naked Gun is a good experiment in, hey, can we bring this type of movie back and will people get it? Will people like it? And I think that's already been proven. Yes, people do.
The answer is yes, if it's done well.
They're bringing back Scary Movie. So I don't know if you remember the Scary Movie parody.
I do.
They're bringing it back. So a new
bringing back the Wayne brothers is what's going to make it good again. Because that was kind of the problem after Scary Movie 3.
Yeah, but Scary Movie's coming back, and that's great because that is the same kind of parody, but with different elements.
Yeah, lots of visual gags, rat-a-tat kind of humor.
So I think when you have those types of movies getting back into the primetime mainstream, that's when people are going to be like, oh yeah, even if I've never seen Spaceballs before or don't understand Mel Brooks' humor or are not familiar with it, they'll like it because it's starting. That genre is starting to come back. So I feel
I feel like all right. So let's say he lands the plane and makes this movie. I feel like there'll be some good CGI related humor. Because the CGI and everything thing is like, you know, there's so much low hanging fruit.
Yeah, there'll be AI jokes for sure, and AI is the thing that everyone's complaining about or talking about. So yeah, for sure.
But I think like it would be approached from a way that, like, if you think about like the time period for Spaceballs. What a sentence. And again, the lack of any franchises at all. It was absolutely brutal towards the idea of overt merchandising and franchise movie making and so on and so on. Yeah. So the idea that is quite definitionally not only what won, but it's like 95 to 96% of what we see now is remakes, prequels, sequels, legacy, blah, 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 blah. I think it's a layup because he clearly has a lot of points of deep-seated dislike towards that kind of thing, to the point that we are talking about the guy that funded the Elephant Man and then insisted that his name not be on it because he didn't want it to distract from the art.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you got to realize that's who you're dealing with.
Serious guy.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And it's and it's one of like the great. I think that's one of the great angel investor stories.
I know.
Is
I
Mel
know.
Brooks Funny the Elephant.
If
Well,
we
it's like,
didn't have we wouldn't have had David Lynch. We wouldn't have had Twin Peaks.
Exactly.
We wouldn't have had Mulholland Drive. We wouldn't have had.
We could thank Mel Brooks.
Well, it's like the same thing I was thinking about the other day with somehow like Weird Al has more artistic integrity than like most of the people he parodied.
Ready for this?
It's
yo,
totally
yo, yo, yo!
Yeah.
Super Bowl halftime show. When is Weird Al? Give it. I would kill. I would kill to hear.
Like,
He's still stuck in the bunker in Naked Gun, unfortunately. So
he didn't do a fucking NFT. He didn't do any kind of crypto fucking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He also hates genocide, so that's great.
He's asked every single artist, like can I rip this off? Like, you don't have to do that. We're in the age of the internet.
Prince.
You know what I mean? Like,
Not Prince though. Prince is like
not Prince, but but he made a mistake. It's still more.
But I think it's
Are there
worth
any-
noting though that like still going to that ask of like what fits in the same universe as Mel Brooks stuff, nothing, and that's one of the reasons like maybe he should do it.
Are there any actors that you would love to see in the sequel that's coming out?
So you can go a couple ways with it. You can go with like the joke is that they're in everything,
Yeah.
And then you go like that.
Yes, get Pedro Pascal there. Yes, let's go.
Who is a good actor, and as we saw again, I hope someone on this show besides me watches Freaky Tales eventually. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's
it's great.
in that.
It's great.
Oh, yeah.
He's good at comedy. I mean, every time he hosts SNL, he basically overshadows everyone at Saturday Night Live. So we know he does comedy well. He does.
I love when he's on SNL. I remember the girl from Temecula kept, and she's just trying not to like break, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
So I think so that's one end is you get the people that are like movie stars, but in the way that like another one with them in it kind of situation.
Yeah.
But people that are like game for it. And the other thing is you just really lean into. Because think about who Mel Brooks would always cast, right? He would always be casting, Madeline Kahn and like you get John Candy. You get like these incredible comedic talents. People just naturally funny, like funny in a way that they can transcend bad writing in some cases.
Just like every director who has their favorites.
Became one of them.
Mel Brooks had his favorites. Obviously his wife, obviously, Gene Wilder, and like he had his favorites that he always went back to. But then he also would bring in new blood because Bill Pullman wasn't part of his like network group. Like,
of course not.
People that are in this movie that are in Spaceballs were new to his movie sensibility or movie group, so he could bring in new people that aren't like the comic hits. Like, you don't want you want straight people in this. You don't want just all comedy people.
You gotta have your Margaret Dumonts. Can I say real quick? Dick Van Dyke as the Emperor.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Right? Still around. Still around.
You gotta have your
Imagine Cillian Murphy doing like his first comedy bit.
No gay people in this one.
Yeah, you don't want people on the edge of death in this movie. You want people that actually can do it.
Imagine them doing the Barbenheimer bit and Cillian Murphy actually does like a comedic bit. Like, it's like, whoa.
Somehow Dick Van Dyke returned.
Look, I like Dick Van Dyke, but I don't want to kill him off with a movie.
I was gonna say though,
we barely had Mel Brooks, so let's not kill everyone with this movie.
I'm knocking on wood, Bonnie. Here's the thing. I killed
I'm telling you, 16-hour workdays are not for people over the age of 90. They're not great.
I was gonna say if you wanted to lean into the second one and do like Adam Driver, you get him in there.
Yes.
Adam Driver would totally do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's really good at doing dry humor too. Like
yeah.
That Kylo Ren sketch, that like the Office thing, that was the undercover.
Yeah, but also him in the Jim Jarmusch zombie movie, he showed the comedy bit really well. Bill Murray should be in this. I mean, if he's not, I'll be upset. But like, there's just, I don't know. Like, you could go any route with this film, but it'd just be interesting to see what the sequel is, because you also want to have new blood in this, not just stunt casting all the way.
Thanks for the Ravensora. Thank you.
Well, and that's sort of like who are our best naturally funny people that are working right now, and crazily, I don't have just a Rolodex to think of off the top of my head because A, we've been streaming for like 3.5 hours, but B,
I have some
comedy. doesn't get the same kind of theatrical treatment that it used to in the 80s and 90s or whatever. It's rare to see something like The Naked Gun even be put into the world and given a theatrical release. Think of like Barb and Star, right? Like that would have killed in theaters if that had been allowed to go to theaters. And
waves too, especially if you're talking about female comics, it goes in waves because you'll have like this whole like genre or era of like the comedic female rom-com, and that takes on like its own life, and then that actress is in everything, and then she's in nothing. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, but then one could argue that like in Bridesmaid.
I don't want to out anybody, but you know what I mean. Like, there's just like certain actresses that become like the comedic actress, and then they suddenly just disappear. Whereas with male comics, it tends to be pretty even. Like, I don't think there was a time when
they do like dip their toes in dramatic stuff.
Okay.
Like
So and kind of related to that, like I think in Bridesmaid, one of the reasons Kristen Wiig works so well is you have like Rose Byrne being the Margaret Dumont playing things completely straight, which led me immediately to think of whoever should be in Spaceballs 2, Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see it.
She would be perfect.
But you can't have her as just the normal character though.
No. You'd have to have her some freak, like some big personality, like whatever.
Yeah.
It'd be funny to have her as Mel Brooks' young hot wife.
Right. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Because you know he's gonna bring back his character. Yeah. Well, and so we got to have Yogurt come back, right? But it'll be CGI'd Yogurt, like doing like acrobatic stuff. I mean, that writes itself. That's almost like comedic in and of itself. We see Yoda like flipping around.
Yeah,
because think about Yoda wasn't that he was like an acrobat. It was like, no, this is like the wisest dude ever. He's been around for like hundreds of years.
He's writing. He's taking notes.
I could see someone like Aubrey Plaza.
Fantastic. Yes.
Even Dakota Johnson could be in this as like a straight character and
not. Oh my God, this would be perfect for her. She's really funny.
She was born to be. Yeah, she needs a Marx Brothers to be a Margaret Dumont tale.
By the way,
yes.
I still think to this day, Madam Web is the best comedy Marvel has ever written.
It's so funny. They joked. They did it like a sketch when she hosts SNL that she gets the post that Aubrey Plaza burns down. Which I'm like, and now I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, they do kind of have like a similar like off-putting vibe that
They do. It's like too cool for school. Like that's the thing about Dakota Johnson. She's funny without meaning to be, but she's also got this weird vibe about her. So I think she would be perfect in Spaceballs.
I'm forever grateful for
and she is Schrodinger's charisma box in the fact that she is somehow both incredibly charismatic and a charismatic vacuum at the same time. Like, and I've never seen it happen with like anyone else.
I'm forever in her debt because she called out Ellen DeGeneres. She's like, I invited you to my party, but you were hanging out with George W. Bush instead, Ellen. And she's like,
yeah, that's great.
Oh my God.
I'm forever rooting for Dakota Johnson and forever baffled by what she ends up being in and what is happening. But she would be absolutely perfect into this Mel Brooks Spaceballs sequel that we are fan casting new arrivals. Thank you. That's what's happening.
Watch it.
Interesting cameos. Like I put Ali Wong in there. Maybe I can see her really being really good in this. I don't know. There's just so many great, talented people out there right now that would be fun to just stick in this movie, even for a side character. I don't want to totally like stunt cast, but it could be really fun. So I'm excited. I hope this sequel does happen, and it's not another Charlie Brown football moment for me in my life because I feel like Mel.
I feel like you're taking it very personally, Bonnie, but I get it. You wrote a couple articles on it.
Track down Rick Moranis.
15, 20 years ago that he announced it. So like I'm now like, come on.
We need some good news. I think it would be really funny though to have Liam Neeson, but like, all right, so they're
and Pamela Anderson because they're a couple.
No, I think you just have Liam Neeson, but everyone's like in the middle of having everyone's in the middle of having like a lightsaber style fight or something, and then Liam Neeson just kind of barrels in with a gun out, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and like backs out again.
Wait! I've done this before.
Liam Neeson.
He was in the prequels.
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
Liam
He'd be like,
I think that's why Forrest brought him.
Well, that and the Naked Gun.
One thing I think we forget is Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill would totally do cameos because I think we love this sense of humor. I know Mark Hamill. I think Harrison would do it. I think Harrison, even if it was not Han Solo though.
Just have him show up as a security guard or something. Be like, listen, kid, it's not that kind of movie.
Like, it makes me sad this didn't come out when Carrie was still alive, because Carrie loved being dirty. I mean, she was in Scream pretending to be a security guard that wasn't.
And they're like, wait a minute,
you know, she did a whole monologue about how she wasn't Carrie Fisher in the Scream movie. Like,
I forgot she was in Austin Powers. She was the therapist in that group, father son. I was like, wait a minute. That was funny. You know,
there's a clip of a guy who's talking to Mark Hamill, and he's like, I didn't see Star Wars first. I saw Spaceballs first, and before I saw Star Wars, and then I was like, oh, this is from another movie. I didn't even know it was when I was a kid. And Mark Hamill seems kind of bummed out, and he's like, I love Blazing Saddles. I love Young Frankenstein. I love the producers. He's like, Spaceballs. I don't know. I thought Star Wars was funny enough. Why did I don't know? You just
I bet you knew that George Lucas would do a cameo, because remember when George Lucas would just pop up in movies like Beverly Hills Cop 3?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Josh Robert Thompson, who voiced Jeff Pierce on the Late Late Show, he got every once in a while he gets all dressed up in a George Lucas cosplay. And he also, I think, he tried going to like the ranch at one point. He went to Comic-Con.
That didn't happen. Yeah, that did not put him in.
no. But like he's gone to Comic-Cons and people like Star Wars fans like, oh my gosh.
There used to be a rule at Lucasfilm for the Halloween party, because we had a big company Halloween party here. Don't go as George, because one year I think 3 people went as George and they looked a little too much like George. And George goes to these parties. This doesn't.
Oh, did it hit a little too close to home, maybe, or something?
He's not in costume. He's just dressed as himself. And too many people would walk up to him and go, "Great George costume."
If I was him, I would have tried to do barbershop quartet with the George Lucases.
No, he's not. That's not. Okay, gather round, children. I'm telling you a secret. The thing about George Lucas is his sense of humor is very dry, and he loves British humor. But he's not like a guy that dresses up in costume and goes, hokey, hook, hook. He's not that guy. So he's never going to be that guy. But he likes humor that is satire and that's smart. And so that's why I was thinking he would probably go into Spaceballs as himself and just like walk past the camera or something. Like, I feel like that would be such a fun.
That'd be great.
But it's just like, wait, was that just George Lucas walking by? Like,
yeah, just like some like uncredited cameo. Yeah.
Well, he did his own. I think he did his own voice in the elevator scene in Robot Chicken, where he's stuck in an elevator with his fan. That scene from Robot Chicken, he does his own voice for that. So I know he is got a great sense of humor. It's just very dry sense of humor. But for Mel Brooks, I feel like if you're gonna do this movie, you don't know how long Mel's got to live. So if I was, I would throw everything at this and just really do the ultimate sequel that's just bombastic and crazy and funny but weird too. Like, that just feels like this would be a great
Can I tell you? Make 2 of them and make it a trilogy.
Spaceballs 3. The search for even more money.
The oldest living person is 116 years old, and she looks pretty damn good to be 116.
I love when they interview. I love when they interview
on the oldest person that exists right now.
I love when they interview like whatever oldest person that's alive, and she's like, and it's always like someone that's like, listen, keep men out of your life, and
have a lot of sex with women, like all the good shit too. Like, yeah.
I know that if you live in England when Queen Elizabeth was still alive, if you reach the age of 100, you get a birthday card from the Queen.
Yeah. So that killed her.
Happy birthday! So what's the equivalent of that in this country?
I feel like I shouldn't have said that about George, but he's got a great sense of humor, and
in this country, you get 100 years and you get a birthday message from Clint Eastwood.
Imagine
115. Congratulations.
Imagine if we had it, but you turn 100, you get a letter from Trump, and it's just the most disappointing thing you've ever gotten in the mail. You're like,
I don't think someone's actually gotten like a tweet from Trump. Actually, no, a week-long tirade against me from him, I know the feeling. It's rather amusing.
I'm 100.
You have to be careful how old you are, and also when you have someone in charge of a country that really loves pop culture, because let's just face it, he saw Star Wars on Air Force One and then decided to make Star Force. I don't want him to see Running Man. I don't want him to see the Purge. I don't want him to see anything.
Don't give him any ideas. Yeah.
I don't want to give him any ideas of things that could suddenly happen. Like, I am waiting for the morning I wake up when he says, "Okay, folks, we're doing the Purge for real." And I'm like, yeah,
the Purge. They're calling it the Purge. They're calling it the Purge.
Or Hunger Games. So it's like, space. This is why we need Spaceballs.
One night.
The worst thing that could happen if Trump sees Spaceballs is maybe we get like a different kind of spacecraft. But I'm okay with that. Like,
it actually looks like a Winnebago. It's crazy.
One night a year, all crime is legal. It's like Chicago. It's like Chicago. All crime is legal. One night a year. But I think we should. We should call it. We should call it here.
Please. Yeah, Spaceballs is one of the great farces. One of the great spoofs. Very, very funny. Holds up.
What's your favorite scene? I want to know what each of your favorite scenes.
Chest burster scene, obviously.
Yeah, it's
that's hard to beat.
Yeah, it's a
chest right. How you breathe this
also, I really like, and this goes to what you said earlier on about how like it kind of melds in your mind with Star Wars. The scene where it's the really, really long ship and it just keeps going. And
it just keeps going for a really, it's like the first shot.
Always, in my brain, I always expect that like the beginning of Star Wars is going to be that.
But there's also like, it's not even about like the biggest scenes. Like when Lone Star's like training with yogurt and like lifts the statue and then Barf comes in and like, oh, that's really great, boss. And he drops the statue on his foot. It's it's Looney Tunes level humor, but it totally works, right?
I also like the ding 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 ding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But y'all do all the sound effects.
I mean, because I'm a huge Aliens fan, of course I love the chest bursting scene, but I really do love when he plays with his own action figures and is having a romantic because as kids, we all can connect with that moment. We all played with these action figures, and it was such a like big moment in our childhood to play with Star Wars action figures and write our own stories in our heads. And so for me, that was like an endearing moment, but also a funny moment. But yeah, there's so many like little tiny slapstick vaudevillian, almost like Three Stooges level humor.
I mean, as a kid, I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate. Yeah. What does that make us? Absolutely nothing, which is what you're about to become. That like cracked me up as a kid, right? But
and also said, "May the force be with you," just as much as I said, "May the force be with you."
Yeah, sure. But also when he shoots the final thing at Lone Star and he puts the thing over his crotch because he's expecting it to hit his crotch, it bounces back. He just hits Rick Moranis in the balls. And he goes.
Good ball humor.
Yeah. I love a good ball humor. All right, well we can end it there for right now.
that's apparently how we're gonna end it. Okay.
Extravaganza. Wait, I'm trying to pop up as because it looks like Kona looks like your arm is his arm and it looks like my head.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, hold on.
What am I? Hugged chest burster.
Christina. Chest bursters. Yeah.
All right. Well. We will be back not this week, but next week to talk about Francis Ha.